Yo, what is up, guys? Back here with another video. Today we are going to be going over this Xerneas team that I've actually built for you guys to use. So if you guys don't know about Xerneas, Xerneas is a very setup-oriented mon, right? It's basically meant to set up geomancy, kind of steamroll, similar to the other restricted set like setting up. Something like, for example, Xerneas, which either wants to get cosmic powers rolling or get meteor beam rolling, similar to that, but let's just go over it from the start. So pretty much with Xerneas teams, they're focused on having a couple of different tools that they can utilize. Typically, they utilize some form of fake out and some form of redirection. These just help enable Xerneas to do what it wants. So this is pretty much what this team does. And then typically has offensive mons that kind of match up and allow it to put on a bit more pressure besides that. But if you guys enjoyed these videos and you guys would like to see more of these kind of videos, make sure to let me know what kind of videos you enjoy in the comments. Make sure to check out the Patreon and support me there. And make sure to check out my coaching where you guys can get professional coaching from me if you guys would like to up your game in the Pokemon world. So going into the team, Xerneas is pretty standard. Xerneas is just running Geomancy, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Protect. I think all Xerneas should be running this set. Sometimes you could argue for like maybe substitute Xerneas. Maybe that'd be over something like Dazzling Gleam, but typically you usually want to have Dazzling Gleam in that slot. Having a spread move and a single target move is really invaluable. You don't want to be locked into only a spread move because then obviously you're going to be susceptible to wide guard, and then you also don't want only a single target move because there are going to be some instances where you want to take advantage of your boost. So that's the main benefit there. Incineroar is running a pretty typical set as well. It's not anything too crazy. If I remember correctly, I believe it is Roar Incineroar. Roar Incineroar does give you the ability to pivot, or not pivot, but like phase stuff out. So for example, Xerneas, which I had mentioned being annoying, right? Like that's something that you can just phase out. That's not too much of an issue. Having options like that is really nice because it prevents, it basically just prevents like Xerneas from sitting in front of you. However, I am going to correct myself and say that Taunt is actually the move of choice. I'd actually mixed it up because I made two versions of this team. One with Landorstarian actually, and one with this, so I was just mixing up which one it was. But this Incineroar is running Taunt. Same kind of premise, besides the fact that obviously you're not going to be roaring stuff out. You're actually taunting certain things to kind of shut them down and prevent them from getting a Trick Room up, for example, right? Or something like that. If there is Roar on the rental, then I'm just dumb and ignore me. But I wanted to give you the reasoning for both. So you had it. Obviously, Parting Shot, Flare Blitz, and Fake Out have the reasoning already there. So you don't need to worry about that. That one's pretty straightforward. Amoonguss is actually running Citrus Berry. So you might be like, okay, well, why Citrus Berry Amoonguss over like a Resist Berry or something? So Citrus Berry in combination with Amoonguss's ability Regenerator and its bulk is actually really nice. Let's say a Pokemon gets you to half health, right? Then you get your citrus back. If you swap out after you get that citrus, you're going to be at full health again next turn when you come back in. So that's just a really nice thing about citrus. Also, too, a lot of damage calcs on Amoonguss sometimes can aim for 2-hit KOs. So Citrus Berry can really throw off calcs like that and really prevent someone from just getting the KO they want on Amoonguss or putting it in the position they want to put it in, right? So that's actually a really beneficial thing because what you're doing is you're preventing a bit of like a more annoying situation. I need to turn off this fan, by the way. Sorry if that was like loud, but yeah. Amoonguss is just able to put on that pressure. It's also able to go for spores, which can be really disruptive, and it's really tough to remove because of its bulk, right? And then Rage Powder, obviously, just to support Xerneas, that's just a really nice option. Keeping your Xerneas safe is really important, I think, especially just so it can set up Geomancy and let it get its damage up for free. Amoonguss also gives you a Trick Room Kyogre matchup. Typically, you would actually struggle with Kyogre and Trick Room if you didn't have Amoonguss, so Amoonguss actually gives you a good way to do that, especially, too, because a lot of them are utilizing Serena, so you don't really want to have to deal with that underprepared. Now, looking over at Urshifu, so Urshifu is actually a really awesome option as well. So this isn't exactly Kunal's set in terms of EVs. It's similar, but it's actually a little bit beefier than Kunal's. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out CK49, another content creator, Adi. He had a team report of a team that Kunal used, Xerneas team, to do really well. He was utilizing Mystic Water Urshifu, and that is where the inspiration from this Urshifu came for. For me, I opted to have a little more bulk than Kunal did. I wanted to have a lot more bulk on this Urshifu to really have it take hits. In exchange, you're trading out its speed, so it's a bit slower, but you do get the benefit of obviously dealing more damage and taking hits a little bit better. So that's the main benefit there. In terms of the actual spread, it's just meant to live Calyrex Astral Barrage, also Rillaboom Grassy Glide. And you could just take hits like Xerneas Dazzling Gleam for Modest Xerneas guaranteed, right? So stuff like that's like really nice. Besides that, it's pretty much a normal Urshifu. You are adamant with investment as well, so you're kind of throwing off the opponent's calcs trying to prevent Urshifu from getting KO. So it's just a very, very good mon overall. Then Regieleki, also very straightforward. So you want Sashaleki on this team because it gives you a Tornogre matchup. Typically, Tornogre can be really annoying into some pairs. By leading Regieleki plus whatever, you can pretty much just go for an Electroweb and like a attack. Always. Into Tornogre, I think you can actually lead Urshifu and Regieleki and just go for an Electroweb and a Surging Strikes and a Tornadus. If they go for a Tailwind, then it doesn't matter. I mean, you're still going to get the Web off and the Surging Strikes off. If they go for a Hurricane, then you just outspeed them and you remove the Tornadus turn 1 without them getting Tailwind. So regardless, it's very positive for you, and this is where like Sashaleki really shines. The fact that they will just take a hit and kind of use that speed control to its advantage to help the team. So Landers, I feel like, is the most changeable slot on this team. I think either bulky Landers Therian with Rocky Helmet or offensive Life Orb Landers Eye with with that set is like better. So you can use either of those sets. I think you do need a special ground type here. It just helps with stuff like Sakataka, which typically is a nuisance for these teams. Landers, besides that, is using Stone Edge. So I know Stone Edge does not get the Sheer Force boost. However, it is a good single target option to actually remove Ho. However, I do think that you could potentially change a Rock Slide as well. I have been seeing a bunch of Rock Slide, and it's not the worst option as long as you don't get intimidated. So obviously, Rock Slide is also a viable option. I also wanted Stone Edge, so I couldn't get Wide Guarded, but it makes sense if you run Rock Slide over this, right? Especially too because you don't want to be taking Life Orb Chip, but I also valued the single target strong rock move better. So that's pretty much it for the actual mons themselves and the description on them. Pretty much all of these mons are expected to be really complementary towards each other. Obviously, Amoonguss and Incineroar are a little more complementary towards Xerneas, and then Urshifu, Regieleki complement each other, and Aleki and Landers complement each other in their coverage, right? In the end, the goal with this team typically is to set up your Xerneas. In some instances, you might not want to bring your Xerneas, and you can just use a more offensive mode with your Urshifu, your Landers, your Aleki, and your Incin. But typically, you do want your Xerneas getting set up in these games. So now I'll be going over some common leads. So for Urshifu and Xerneas actually do exhibit a lot of pressure together. Urshifu really has the ability to kind of pressure the things that Xerneas like. So for example, Sakataka, right? You can even lead like Xerneas plus Urshifu, turn 1 pressure close combat, or like Asserting Strikes plus Moonblast in the Sakataka, and what was originally a Xerneas check isn't great. Also pressures Volcarona, which is really annoying for Xerneas, so that's another great thing that you can do. Helps in the mirror as well. And then, besides that, it's just really good for removing Incineroars, which can potentially roar away Xerneas, or just fake it out, annoy it. So that's also a really nice thing with the team. For the second common lead, Landers Eye and Regieleki, this is typically better into teams that do not like this lead. So what I mean by that is typically you normally want to be leveraging your Xerneas really early on. But sometimes there'll be Pokemon that just have a really good advantage into Xerneas, and you kind of want to have a game plan that doesn't revolve around your Xerneas. Typically, Landers Eye Regieleki is a really good lead if you don't intend to use Xerneas, or if you don't intend it to be the centerpiece of your game plan, right? Landers Eye offers a lot of offensive pressure next to Electroweb Alekis, which makes it a very viable option. And it means you're going to want to use these in tandem together, using Electroweb as speed control to enable your Landers to really get these big hits off, which is going to be super, super helpful. And then, as well, like, obviously, you're going to be utilizing the Aleki anyways to pivot, so it kind of gives you a little more flexibility as well. You can protect Landers, Volt Switch, stuff like that. And then for the final pair, we have Xerneas and Amoonguss. So this one's the most straightforward. I would also say honorable mention Incineroar Xerneas here. Same concept. You're aimed around setting up your Xerneas. So you lead redirection if they have not much ways to deal with redirection, or if you think you can get your Geomancy up for free, or you lead Incineroar to fake out plus Geomancy if you think that's also pretty safe. So obviously in this format there are a decent amount of checks to Xerneas, so you have to be careful. Oh, excuse me, I've been yawning a lot today. I think it's because I just woke up not too long ago, but yeah. Especially with that, you have the option of going for a Moonblast, you have the option of going for Dazzling Gleams next to Amoonguss, keeping it safe, and then you can always cycle in Incineroar to protect it. Typically, when you're leading Xerneas Amoonguss, you're usually going to want Incineroar in the back to give you a little bit more options to protect your turn. I feel like the strongest core of this team, when you're not using the Landorus and Aleki, or rather, when you're not using the Aleki, is always going to be Xerneas, Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Urshifu, because they complement each other very well. You get a pseudo Fire, Water, Grass core, and you also get really good offensive coverage between the Xerneas and the Urshifu with Incineroar and Amoonguss support. So that's pretty much it for this team. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So I know Xerneas is a very popular restricted. I wanted to give you guys my take on it. I know they're typically being utilized next to Volcarona, but I wanted to give you guys some options to really explore the archetype and kind of do something different. I also think that Amoonguss can offer a little bit more help versus stuff like Urshifu Water and certain other mons that could be a bit of a nuisance in the format. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to let me know. If you guys would like to see any kind of different content, make sure to let me know in the comments. Also, if you guys are interested in anything related to coaching or anything related to Patreon, those links will be down below. I appreciate the support, but obviously it's not required. You guys just supporting the videos, dropping comments, liking the videos is pretty much all I need. But thank you guys for all the support as always. It really means a lot that I'm able to do this and kind of, you know, just have an impact and like help you guys learn the game. So I really do appreciate that. But we are going to keep on the Series 10 grind. We are going to keep uploading videos. So make sure to let me know what you guys would like to see. Thank you again for watching the video, guys. Hopefully this team helps you and hopefully you guys enjoy the team. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.